Blood of the Dead was disappointing. Blood of the Dead wasn't as good as it should have been. Blood of the Dead was or was it? Recent YouTube, welcome back to another video on the channel, and today we are starting a brand new series on the channel called ZDiscussions. Obviously the Z standing for zombies, so zombie discussions. And I know I'm English, so really I should be saying Z, but it wouldn't sound as good, so shut up. But regardless, this is the new series where I basically go through maps, different maps of zombies, Call of Duty, Black Ops, and just discuss them, you know, what I like about them, analyse them, the positives, the negatives, just all of that, everything zombies, and not only maps, you know, just zombie discussions in general. Yes, I have actually gotten back into zombies once again. If you're an OG fan, you'll remember when I always used to play zombies all the time. So hopefully you all do enjoy this series and this video. If you do, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you are new around here. But yeah, the first episode is on Blood of the Dead, one of 3 zombie maps that were released as Black Ops 4 was released, and I think it is greatly underrated. It is hated widely across the zombie community, mainly because of how much of it was a letdown compared to Mob the Dead, the classic. After, you know, this is technically a remaster with just a little bit of new additions to the map. Now personally, I'm going to be talking about why I think this map is hugely underrated and should deserve much more credit. But I'm waffling way too much, let's just get straight into the video. So to begin with, let's talk about the build up of the map. To begin with, there was a lot of hype coming up to Black Ops 4 Zombies, and at the announcement, Treyarch officially announced 2 different stories, obviously the Chaos story and continuation of the Ether story, being Blood of the Dead. This trailer you'll see in the background, it's kind of a little teaser, was also in the intro and is, you know, obviously now playing in the background, was the first thing that anyone had ever saw publicly to go live for Blood of the Dead. That shot was enough just to excite any diehard zombies fan. Seeing our 4 premise crew characters standing there in one of the most fan favourite maps, obviously Mob the Dead, was just enough to make a grown man cry. Not only that, but expectations were so high after arguably the best, if not, you know, one of the best maps, Mob of the Dead, being such a huge success with lovable characters, that being Sal, Al, Finn and Weasel. And it was nice that they did bring back them 4 characters, but we'll get more in depth into that later. But yeah, there was a lot of hype coming around to this map. Obviously there were 3 maps being released on release day, which was the first time we've ever done that. 2 being Chaos story and 1 being the old fashioned Ether story. And just to back up how much hype this game had on it, the Call of Duty Black Ops 4 community reveal livestream was the most watched game reveal in Call of Duty history. None of the games have ever had that many viewers at one time. Just goes to show how many people were highly anticipating this game. Now that we've highlighted the build up, the reveal and the numbers, let's get into the general feel about the map. So storyline wise, Blood of the Dead is set after Revelations. The premise crew arrive in a teleporter, meeting another version of Richtofen. This is the Richtofen right before the Great War, where, as we saw in Revelations, the premise crew yield all 4 staffs that we've seen in Origins. Now, as we knew before, in the last map, Mob of the Dead, our 4 characters were stuck in an endless cycle. This was a cycle of purgatory. The 4 characters tried to escape prison, and then failed, died, and they always keep in that endless cycle of dying and living and dying and living. They were stuck in this cycle, and that is therefore you have to do the Easter egg where you have to break it. All 4 of them eventually die, however are brought them back in this map, but not as we knew them back in Mob of the Dead. Right before the final step of the Easter egg where you fight Brutus in the boss battle, he is held off by 4 souls. These being Sal, Al, Finn and Weasel. And the reason we know is because right after Brutus is taken away, Richtofen says this.
Sal, Finn, Al, that teensy little seagull. The ghosts of Alcatraz have bought us the time.
Weasel was the most seen in this entire Mob of the Dead Easter egg, as he was the bird that carried the chronorium, and was probably the most annoying step, I can't lie. But regardless, I feel like Treyarch executed this map completely well, and I don't believe it gets the credit it actually deserves. Every time you load up this map, you get that eerie sense. You hate being that, like, you get the feeling of what our Primus crew get. They are obviously stuck in a cycle, dying and being reborn over and over again, and you get that kind of same feeling of them just wanting it to end and repetitiveness. You become physically tired as well as they do as well. As you can see in some of these clips, the Primus crew slowly lose their sanity, with one of the clips even Nikolai accepting just him dying and just gets eaten by the zombies. You can see slowly all of them trying to like express their passion all in one clip. Nikolai obviously getting eaten like I just said. Takeo, as you can see here, there's blood all over his face and just screaming. It's just a really rare sight because none of us have seen our heroes like this before. It's always been good in the end, and they've always like won, whether it's been through the Easter egg or whatever it was. It's almost as if this map is the breaking point for our 4 characters. After all of these journeys they've had, which aren't pleasant journeys. I know it might be fun for the zombie player, but for them personally, if you go into their shoes, these experiences they aren't fun. Going to zombie infested places, not knowing where they're going, and having no one but the 4 of them by their side, it's traumatic, you can't lie. Storyline wise, I feel like it's great, especially the ending cutscene. It is the best, without a doubt, ending cutscene in my opinion, ever. Like the emotion you get, and the ending it's just tragic. I mean, this is the Primus Richthofen we've known since the beginning of Origins. He was, as you can see over here, he says in the cutscene, I was the nicest one. And you won't even remember me.
You won't even remember.
And it's true, every other alternate Richthofen we've seen has been evil. The Ultimus Richthofen obviously being the worst, but Primus Richthofen, you've just built a connection with him after all of these maps, you know, Origins, Revelations, Shinonuma, the Eisendrache, Goran Quovi, some of the fan favourites here. We've known him for so long, and these 4 characters, they start to build, you start to have emotions on them, and it's sort of like a caring kind of relationship. And seeing his death was just shocking for most viewers. A lot of people didn't expect it, and it was just so sudden. But yeah, like I said, I feel like the atmosphere of the map is amazing. I feel like they definitely did what they wanted to do by creating that sense of just the breaking point, like I said earlier, and they executed very well, and I really enjoy that sense of the map. Now going on to the like additional parts of the map that weren't in Mumble the Dead, sorry, like the Warden's house, all of them parts, and I feel like people say they weren't necessary. The catwalk, yes, it can be annoying, but I feel like it is a good addition. It's different. When have we ever seen zombies go through walls before, and you can't kill them? You can kind of shoot them and get their hands out of the way for a second, but you can't actually kill them. It spices things up. I know it's very annoying, especially on the step when you have to drain the essence of the evil ghost who wants to kill him, the other ghost with the knife. But yeah, I mean, it's something different. Warden's house gives a bit more context on the Warden, with a few pictures in there. Richtofen's lab, although you might not go there a lot, it's vital for the Easter egg, and it's what you need. And it's a very interesting kind of story with, obviously, as you spawn in, you can see the Victor's crew right in the containers. The Easter egg is very hard, and it is one of the most tedious in the world. I mean, it's probably, a lot of people would say it's the worst ever Easter egg during the steps, but I would argue that it is rewarding in the end. The boss fight, I love it. It's very fun and very intimidating. Although it can be easy at times, I don't know, I still enjoy it, and plus the cutscene is all worth it. Especially the plot twist when you actually are Richthofen yourself, as in you're playing as the player Richthofen. But yeah, regardless, I feel like some of these places in this map are very underrated and deserve more credit. I'm going to keep saying it throughout this, and it is the truth, it's what I believe. However, there are some downsides to this map. Due to the high expectations of Mob of the Dead, it was always going to be hard to kind of live up to the expectations, and did they do it? No. Mob of the Dead, of course, is 10 times better, but it was a very hard job, and people expected a lot, of course, but that's what you get when you try and remaster a fan favourite map. and it was kind of like a destined for failure. No matter what they did, people were gonna hate it because it weren't the original. So overall, I feel that Blood of the Dead, it is a good map and it deserves more appreciation in the zombies community. With a few more tweaks to the map, just like get rid of some of the unnecessary parts, like I said earlier, with the spawn room. I know you don't really go. I know it's really important for the Easter egg, but you don't go into it a lot. I said it when I said it, and that you don't go into it enough. You go into there when you spawn in. You come back for the orbs, and that's about it. Yes, it is cool, the entire setting, but I don't know, it just doesn't have that same feel as the old spawn room did. All I'm saying is this map needs a lot more appreciation, despite some of the key flaws it has. I'd say that this map is a solid 7 out of 10. Definitely one of the best in Black Ops 4 in my opinion, but obviously that wasn't really that much of a standard because most of the Black Ops 4 maps were terrible, except for 9. But we'll get onto that in a later video in the series. I hope you did all enjoy this first video of the series Z Discussions. Yeah, I know it might have been confusing for some who don't watch zombies, and if you do, please don't be too harsh with some things I've said. Obviously, this is the first episode I've done on this series. It's going to take some getting into with my analysis and stuff like that. But yeah, hopefully it's only up from here and just evolving this series slowly. And I might upload some more zombies gameplay, like doing Easter eggs, for stuff like that, because as I said earlier, I'm really into zombies again. But yeah, if you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe. The VFL season is starting very soon, so keep your eye out for that. And until next time, I will see you lot in a bit. Let the music take over, fill your mind.